Hey, welcome to the Desert Life. I am Renee the Realtor. It is always good seeing you. Thank you so much for joining me this week. As you can see, I'm outside. The sun is setting. It was a beautiful day today. We got up to like 70 degrees finally because it has been cold these past few weeks. So it was nice to feel 70 degrees. And so I just wanted to be outside and take advantage of this beautiful weather that we're having. And so today's video is going to be a market update. And so we're going to talk about supply and demand, renting versus buying, and then we'll get into our numbers for this week. But before we get into all that good stuff, please subscribe if you have not already done so. Give this video a thumbs up. Please hit the notification bell and please share this channel with your family and friends. Also, if you are considering buying, regardless if you're currently already in Phoenix or relocating to Phoenix or thinking about relocating to Phoenix, please go to my website, reneewatkinsrealtor.com, and you can search for homes directly on my site. I try to make it as convenient for you as possible. All right, so let's get down to business. Let's talk about supply and demand. So over the past few weeks, I have been giving you numbers as far as demand and supply, and it appears that supply is outpacing or has been outpacing demand. I should say demand has been outpacing supply, which it has. But when we look at the numbers, demand has really been as normal as possible and our supply is just so low. So it appears that demand is just this big colossal event that's happening, but it really isn't. Demand is just as normal as possible, but because supply is so low, it appears that way. So let's take a look at this chart. This is our days of inventory. It gives us an idea of what our supply looks like, okay? So as you can see, like in around 2006 to 2008, we had a huge number of supply. Days on the market were, or I should say days of inventory, we were close to 500, 450, right? But right now, you see how low we are. We are like below 50 actually. So on December 21st, we had 33 days of inventory. Now this number is now at 19 as of January 6th. Okay, that is a decrease of 42%. So what this means is our supply is low. It has been low for quite some time. We don't know when we're going to get some relief here, okay? Because supply has been so low, but demand has been as normal as possible. And so it just seems that, you know, like I said, demand has been such a big event when it's really, demand is as normal as it possibly can be, but the supply is not catching up and we don't know when it's going to catch up, all right? As a matter of fact, let's look at our numbers for supply and demand. So as of January 1st, our demand index is 123 and the supply index is at 30. And that's been a disparity for quite some time. Okay, so if you're considering buying, just keep that in mind that our supply inventory is really low. And so just consider being flexible as you shop for homes. Okay, so let's take a look at a few numbers. Our active listings are down by 21% from last month. And then our pending listings are also down 15% from last month. Now I did explain why I like looking at pending listings, because it really tells us what type of activity we're seeing in the market right now. So pending listings are down 15%. And then I've already talked about our days of inventory. I want to talk real quick about renting versus buying. I know some of you are renters and you may be on the fence for buying. And so I came across this article on CNBC.com. Take a look at this. Should you rent or buy a home? Prices are surging in both cases, which makes it complicated. So we see that home prices are rising faster than rents, which is shrinking the affordability gap between being a homeowner and a tenant. So this article, which I'll make sure that I include the link below, it talks about how the affordability gap between renting and buying is shrinking because home prices are increasing. And because home prices are increasing, some future home buyers can't afford to save up for the down payment. And then you also have the rent prices that are increasing as well. The article goes on to talk about how it may be cheaper, or it is cheaper, to rent in larger cities like Phoenix, LA was one of them, Chicago, and San Diego. And so I wanted to take a look at those numbers just to see what's really going on in the rental market in Phoenix. So let's take a look here. So this graph is the monthly average lease price per square foot since 2000. Now I don't want to focus on the year 2000. I want to look at what's happening now. As you can see, I mean, basically from 2016 on up to the current year, that rental prices have gone up. We see a steady increase. That's our trend line there. Right now, we're sitting at 134 as of December 21st. December of last year, the average rent per square feet or per square foot is $1.34. So if you wanted to rent a 2,000 square foot home, that would cost you about $26.80 per month on average. Now the mortgage on that same square footage home could be around $3,000 per month on average. So based on these numbers, I mean, it is a little less expensive to rent with these prices here, but this is a hypothetical situation. And at the end of the day, you really just have to decide what is best for you financially, okay? You have to go with what you can afford at the time. And rental prices in the Phoenix area have gone up, as you can clearly see by this graph here, and home prices have gone up, okay? So we know that interest rates are going to go up. I've talked about that on my last market update, how the Fed is going to taper the bond purchases, and so that's going to affect mortgage rates. It's going to happen probably sooner than we all anticipated, and so that is going to affect home affordability. All right, so just wanted to give you those numbers just so that you can kind of see what the rental market is looking like here in Phoenix, and if you're considering buying, I mean, if you're on the fence to buy, so that you can make an informed decision. Okay. All right, so let's take a look at our numbers. The monthly median sales price in the greater Phoenix area as of January 5th was $437,750. This is for all dwellings, again, in the greater Phoenix area. Last month, it was $430,000, so we see an increase there. When we look at single family homes only, the monthly median sales price as of January 5th was $458,500, and in December it was $455,685. So we do see a slight increase there, and honestly, it's really been the monthly median sales price has increased over the last several months. Okay, and then last but not least, our Cromford Market Index, which tells us how balanced the market is here in the Phoenix area. And our Cromford Market Index for this week, that number is at 418.5. Last month it was 366. So we do see that it is still a seller's market. All right. We talked about supply and demand, and so demand is outpacing supply, but it's still as normal as possible because supply is so low. All right. So there you have it. Hey, if you ever have any questions or comments, please drop a comment below. Or if you're renting, I would love to know where you're at right now. How do you feel about the rental market here in the Phoenix area? And if you're on the fence of buying, what's preventing you from buying? All right. Thank you so much for joining me. It's always good to see you. We'll see you next time. Have a good week.